Hello and welcome to another episode of the Two Charlottes Spill the Tea. Today we are going to start on our mini series on body image, and we actually have a special guest joining us for this episode. Her name is Alicia, and she is a single mum to a 14-year-old boy called Reese. She's actually works two jobs as a dental nurse and a beauty therapist, and she is a sucker for a cheesy boy band. So obviously we're, going to get on really well because I love boy bands. But she's actually going to come on and talk to us about her weight loss surgery journey and how she got there and where it started and, the whole kind of process around all of that. So I will let you jump in, Alicia, and just kind of introduce yourself briefly.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. Like when I got the message to when you asked me, I was like, wow, people actually want to know this. Um, but I think having weight loss surgery, it kind of gets people talking. Like the amount of people that I've had in my inbox sort of asking, what happened, what made you do it. So doing this is great because obviously we're going to get the message out there and kind of tell people not to be scared because it can be quite a scary thing because it is a major operation. But yeah, one of the best things I've ever done, and so I just love sharing my story.
No, that's perfect. So let's jump straight in. So obviously I think our first question is going to be what kind of made you decide to go down the route of surgery? Because, weight loss surgery is quite that's a big step. That's like a bold move to make. So what kind of made you decide on that? Like, and how did you kind of feel about your body beforehand?
So, I mean, it was probably a good few years ago. I kind of did look into it, but I wasn't sort of serious about it. I probably didn't really have that much to lose at the time. Um, but it kind of got to a stage where I'd put on so much weight. I'd done so many different diets. I'm very impatient, and if I don't start seeing results sort of straight away, I give up. And for me, I'm an emotional eater. So any kind of emotion I'm feeling, so if I'm fed up that I'm not losing weight, I turn to food.
Yeah.
If I'm happy, I turned to food. Like any emotion, it was literally just food constantly all the time. Um, but it was last year. I went to a like an event, and there was like a professional photographer there, and got these photos back, and they were horrific. I just looked at myself and I just felt disgusted. I mean, I've never been one to sort of look in the mirror because I never liked what I saw. So I kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I was kind of in denial
Yeah.
about how I looked. Um, like I'd go clothes shopping and I'd try and squeeze into a size 18, knowing full well that size 18 was not going to fit me. I'd try a size 20, knowing that wouldn't fit me. And, it got to a point where I was in a size 22 clothes. Um, and I was still in denial. But it was just when I saw those pictures, I was like, oh my God, you look horrific. And, I had no confidence, I had no self-esteem. I just, yeah, I wasn't in a good place in how I felt about myself. I was struggling with my mental health. Um, so yeah, I think for me, surgery was my only step. Huge decision. But yeah, that's when I decided.
Wow. And once you decided that you wanted to get surgery done,
Mhm.
how did you kind of go about finding a reputable surgeon to go to, someone that you could trust in? How did you do that? Because like I totally get what you're saying, the whole kind of the weightlifting, emotional eating. Oh,
Mm.
that is like food makes me feel so happy. So it is something that I would turn to as well. And I get the impatience as well. Like it's really, really hard. Weight loss journey is really, really hard. So how, like, what, when you decided, yeah, that's it, I'm getting surgery, like, what did you do next?
So I was literally straight online. I mean, it is literally like a minefield. There are
Yeah.
so many places doing it. I'd looked at the UK, I looked at places abroad. In the UK, it is ridiculously expensive. Like you're looking between 10, 15 grand. It's
Wow.
ridiculous. I was like, there is no way I'm ever going to be able to afford that. But I knew that surgery was my way of doing it. I mean, obviously I know that you can get it on the NHS, but I didn't want, I don't know, I was kind of like embarrassed to go to the doctors and say, I'm really struggling, my mental health's low because of the way that I feel. I didn't want to do that. So I looked at Turkey. So I did lots of research into places in Turkey. I mean, there's like different types of weight loss surgery. So like you've got your gastric sleeve, your gastric band, your gastric bypass. So I did loads of research on the different types of weight loss surgery that you can have, and found that the gastric sleeve was the best one for me. Um, so yeah, I just literally just researched loads of different places, read reviews, and I came across this one company called Get Slim in Turkey. And when you just know, I just
Yeah.
knew that they were for me. But obviously I still carried on researching them. And I actually followed a few people on Instagram who had been and had surgery with them as well. And I've got in people's inboxes. And then I was actually telling one of my friends that this was something that I wanted to do. And she said, "Oh, what's the company called? Because I've got a friend who had weight loss surgery." And I told her that it was Get Slim in Turkey. She said, "Oh my gosh," she said, "that's who my friend went with." So I got in her inbox and had a really good chat with her. And she sort of said, the care is just literally next level. Like the hospital is like, it's like a hotel. Honestly, it's just
Wow.
insane. So obviously she was telling me all of this and she'd lost, I think she'd lost about 8 stone. I mean, she was bigger than what I was.
Mm.
But I think she lost 8 stone in, I think it's probably about 9 months, I think.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, like sign me up. So yeah, then I got in contact with Get Slim in Turkey and like spoke to them about, the procedure, what happens, obviously costing, and it's a lot cheaper than what it is over here. And that was it. I was like, that my decision was made. I was like, right, I'm doing this. And I did, I
Wow.
booked it.
That's amazing. I didn't actually know there was that many different types of weight loss surgery.
Yeah, there's loads. So I think there's a balloon. So I'm not quite sure. I didn't research balloon, so I didn't really look into that. But then like you've got a band, which is like literally a band that they just like tie around your stomach. But with that one, there's a higher risk of stretching it and it
Mm.
breaking. And then there's a bypass, which is it's major surgery, like it's like more than what a gastric sleeve is. And I was like, I didn't really want that.
Mm.
But the side effects are worse with that one as well. So then I looked at the gastric sleeve. So that's where they remove 80% of your stomach
Wow.
and they leave you with 20%. So my stomach is like tiny,
Tiny.
tiny, tiny.
Wow.
Yeah. But they also, within that 80% of your stomach, they actually remove your hunger hormone as well. So I don't
Wow.
actually
Oh.
feel physical hunger.
Oh wow.
As time has gone on, I'm struggling with head hunger, but that's because I'm still a fat girl inside.
That's really interesting. Like I
Yeah.
had no idea that they do that, that they could do that even.
I
And
didn't
it's literally
either.
done through keyhole as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's crazy.
So I think the next thing that I'd quite like to know just about the surgery, like, was it mentally quite hard for you to go through it? Like, was it a scary process, or were you just really excited about what you knew the end result was going to be and how you were going to feel that you didn't really think about that side of things.
I literally didn't think about it. I'd made my decision. I'm very impulsive. And once I'd made my decision, that was it. There was literally, I was going to do everything I possibly could to get that surgery done. There was no, there was no way that I was not having it done. Um, I'm quite obsessive, and because of all the research I did, I literally obsessed over it. It's literally all I thought about, was all I did. So there was literally no nerves whatsoever. Um, I knew that it was exactly what I wanted to do. Um, even even getting to the airport on the way, I was just so excited because I knew exactly what this was going to do for me. Um, like I've dreamt my whole life of being skinny, and I was like, I'm actually going to be skinny. And even on the morning of the surgery, my surgeon came in to see me. Like he like went through all like my pre-op results and everything. And he said to me, he said, "You are so positive." He said, "I don't think I've ever seen anybody so positive before surgery." He said, "Like, you're a breath of fresh air." I was like, "Oh my God." But yeah, even as they were wheeling me down the corridor, I was just smiling, I was waving at my sister. I was just, yeah, I was just so excited just because I knew it was literally going to change my life.
That's amazing. And it's funny that you mentioned that your sister was there, because I wanted, like, I'm actually getting tearful listening to you saying this, because
Oh.
it's like, it's so nice to hear, how excited you were for it, and like there all your life you just wanted to be skinny. It's like I can totally relate to that feeling.
Me
But
too.
yeah, that your sister was there. I was gonna ask you, like, how were your loved ones? I know you have a son as well. Like, did he come over with you as well as your sister? Like, how, and even I suppose, like, I was gonna say in the hotel, in the hospital, did they stay in the hospital with you, or like how does that side of it all work?
Yeah, so obviously once I'd decided that this was what I wanted to do, I obviously spoke to my family, and my mum, she's very anxious. She's a bit of a worrier. It wasn't that she tried to put me off. She just, obviously, I know that having surgery in Turkey can get some bad press.
Mm.
Um, but I mean, if you did your research, you'd know that that kind of stuff happens here as well. It's just not documented like it is when people have it done in Turkey. Um, so obviously she's heard horror stories, so she was scared for me, but she knew how much it meant to me, and fully supported me. My sister did, and my stepdad did. Um, I didn't. I told Reese that I was going to Turkey for an operation. I didn't give him the whole ins and outs just because I didn't want to worry him like
Mm.
while I was gone. I mean, I wasn't gone that long, but I didn't want him to like be at home and just being scared for me.
Yeah.
So I kept it quite sort of simple for him. But yeah, so my sister came with me. Um, so they get to stay for free as well, which is nice. All you have to do is
Wow.
literally pay for their flight. She got fed, she got watered, so had a bed to sleep in. It was great. Yeah, she was in the room with me. And I mean, this hospital room was like, it was massive. So it had two beds in it. It had a sofa, most amazing view of the beach and the sea. It was lovely.
Wow.
Wow.
So yeah, and they just really looked after her as well. So it was just lovely. So yeah, and having that support from my family was made it so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's nice, like, to have the support of your family when you're doing something so life-changing is nice that they're kind of on board with that as well. So once you've kind of had the surgery, like what's the aftercare stuff like, with, because you obviously had it done abroad, what's that kind of process like, and how long, is the recovery period, and what would you say was the hardest part of the recovery for you?
So I'm not going to lie, it was hard. I think for me personally, I think I got the rough end of the stick. So I ended up having to have my gallbladder removed at the same time.
Oh.
So when I had my pre-op, my gallbladder was in a really bad state, and they said, really, you need to have it removed. So I had that removed at the same time. And that just really knocked me about. For probably about a week, maybe a week and a half, I thought to myself, what have you done? You are stupid. Like, what have you done to yourself? And I did regret it. I totally regretted it. So I think my recovery was probably about 3 weeks. But I was in contact with some of the girls who were there having it done at the same time as me. I mean, even while we were there, the next day they were up and walking. They were walking down to the beach. I think it was on the second day they tried to get me up. I said, go and have a little stroll down to the beach. Well, I only literally just left my my hospital room, and I was crying. I can't do this. They're like, well, just have a little walk down to the terrace. And I got down to the terrace. I was like, I need to go back. Like, it was horrific. And I think it made it worse seeing everybody else like absolutely fine. We going shopping and all sorts and getting like cheap designer bags. But yeah, so aftercare, sort of when you get back here, so obviously they give you all your medicines that you need. So like stomach protectors, blood thinners. They gave me protein shakes. Literally, you go home with a big bag full of medication, everything that you possibly need. But everything was like obviously in liquid form, because you can't have anything other than liquids for the first 2 weeks. So, I mean, drinking liquid paracetamol is not nice. Honestly, it was disgusting. I hated that time of the day. I could feel the pain coming. I was like, oh my God, I've got to have this stuff again. It was gross, but we got through it. So yeah, but even once I'd sort of recovered, like felt better in myself and I'd gone back to work, it still wasn't plain sailing, if I'm honest. I got an infection in one of my incisions, so then had to go on antibiotics for that. So yeah, it was tough. It really was tough. But would I change it? No, not at all. Like, to feel the way that I feel now is so much better, even having gone through that. Do you know what I mean? It's just, yeah, it's crazy to have gone from literally feeling so bad about myself and hating myself to then totally regretting having surgery to then now how I feel. It's just totally polar opposites. Like, it's the best feeling ever.
That's amazing. And I was actually going to ask you next, like, how do you feel now about your body and what you've been through? And if you could do it all over again, would you? But I also wanted to add on there, I know you said that Reese didn't know that you were having it done, but like, he obviously can see the change in you, like your mum with her anxieties and everything can see the change in you, and obviously your sister as well and your stepdad. So how have they found, I'm just going to call you the new you, the new you, how have they found the new you? And do you feel like it's given you, I suppose, like more love for life? And, how has it changed your self-image even and things like that?
Like, I love myself again. Well, I say again, I don't think I've ever really loved myself.
Wow.
So to actually love myself is such a nice feeling. Like, I don't look at myself and feel disgusted anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I've lost 7.5 stone and like gone from a size
Wow.
22 to a size 10. So there's loose skin.
Yeah.
And I do look at that and I think, ugh, that's gross. But compared to what I was, I can deal with that for now. And I'm not going to lie, I probably am going to go back to Turkey and have a tummy tuck. Just so that I've got that total, like, I want to be able to wear a bikini.
Oh
And
yeah.
because of the loose skin that I've got, I don't think I'd feel comfortable.
Mm.
But even just putting on a costume is just going to be amazing. Like, because I've never, like, I hated going swimming. I would never go swimming because I didn't ever want to put on a costume.
Yeah.
So to now, I mean, I'm going on holiday in a few months and I've bought some really nice costumes and I can't wait to actually get into them. Whereas before,
Yeah.
it would just be the worst feeling ever. Um, but yeah, I'm literally the happiest I've ever been. And I am totally a totally different person. And like my mom and my sister and my stepdad and Reese, they can all see the change in me.
Yeah.
And I mean, as you could see me losing weight over the months, like every time I'd go into my mum's house, they're like, "Who are you? Like, you're not my daughter." Like, I just think even just my face and I think I just look like a totally different person. Like, and I don't think some people even recognize me anymore because I
Wow.
just look so different. Um, but yeah, it's definitely given me so much more confidence. And one of the most amazing things is that I don't take antidepressants anymore.
Wow.
Wow.
That's incredible.
I think that is probably one of the biggest things for me because I really relied on my antidepressants. And like if I'd ever miss a couple of days, you would know. Um,
Yeah.
and I think it just literally came about. It wasn't that I'd planned to come off them. Um, I think I literally just had a couple of days where I didn't take them. I thought, I feel really good. So I thought, okay, I'm going to give this a go. And I said to my sister, I said, right. So I live with my sister. So I said to her, I said, if you notice a change in me, please tell me because I want to give this a go and just sort of see um, how much the way I looked affected my mental health. Turns out the way I looked totally affected my mental health. And I think that was the root cause of why I was on my antidepressants.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
no
amazing.
And
antidepressants anymore.
you're literally beaming. Like you look so good. You sold it to me. I need to go to Turkey.
Yeah, like after this conversation, I'm like, right, book me on the next flight. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yes, on the internet, let's get looking. Another
Let's,
good take.
let's go. Um, so I think kind of like final question that we've got for you is, if there's anyone who's listening to this now, who's thinking that, is feeling like you did and is thinking surgery is the option, like what would be your advice to them? Like what would you say to them if they're kind of sat in the old you, shall we say's shoes?
Do it. Honestly, do it. Yes, it's scary. Do it. It will literally change your life. Like if anybody, like I've had people message me about it. Um, and obviously I've been truthful and I've said to them, it is hard, but it will literally be the best thing you ever do. Like it has changed my life. Um, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still struggle with like I'm still a fat girl inside and I still want to eat loads. And there's been times when I have tried to eat loads and you will regret that because it hurts. um, but it's all about learning what you can and can't eat. Um, but yeah, honestly, it would literally change your life. Just do it. Just
I
do
love
it.
I love that.
Oh, me too. Like, and you literally are glowing, and you can hear it in your voice as well. Like you're so passionate to talk about it and happy about it, and like it's worth every little bit of kind of after surgery pain. And with any surgery, there's a risk of complication, but having your gallbladder out at the same time, I've never had my gallbladder out, but I have had a gallbladder attack. And
Yeah. Oh, it's
oh,
one of the most horrific things I've ever gone through.
yeah,
Um, and I mean, I'd never had a gallbladder attack until it was probably about 3 weeks before I had my surgery. Had no idea what it was. I thought it was trapped wind. But it was the most horrific pain I've ever felt. And then literally 2 days before I flew to Turkey, I had another attack. And my sister said to me, "Do you want me to take you to hospital?" I was like, "No, you're not taking me anywhere because I'm going to Turkey and I'm having this surgery done." Um, yeah. So yeah, gallbladder attacks are
Oh yeah.
horrific.
I thought I was dying when I had mine.
Yeah,
I didn't know what was happening.
awful.
I ended up getting my husband to take me to the hospital at midnight because it started at 6. And by midnight, I was still kind of rocking and rolling around on the floor. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
said to him, I think I'd rather give birth again. And he was like, well, what's wrong? I was like, I don't know. I think I'm dying. I need to go to hospital.
You literally don't know what to do with yourself, do you? I was
Yeah, it's
wobbling on the
shocking.
floor. I was like rocking backwards and forwards on the
I had
sofa.
hot water bottles.
Yeah,
I only had
yeah.
paracetamol, but that didn't do anything to help me at all.
It,
But I can
honestly,
imagine
probably,
having it out would, that's probably where most of your pain, like after surgery pain came from,
I think
maybe.
it was from
Yeah.
talking to other people who've had it done. They were all fine,
Yeah.
and none of them had any extra surgery. I think I was actually the only one who had the extra surgery. Um, so yeah, I think having just the gastric sleeve surgery, I don't think. I mean, was people who would literally. So when you go, you're there. So you literally fly one day, have the surgery the next day. You're there for 2 days, then you have a stay in a hotel, and then you fly home. So I literally flew on the Sunday there, flew back on the Thursday. I missed out on the hotel stay, which I was very disappointed about, just because of the way that the flights worked out.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so there's literally those few days when you're in Turkey. There were some people that were going back to work, 2, 3 days later.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, like literally absolutely fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And you're
I
not
just
there for very long. Like I had in
no.
my head, like I imagined you'd have to be there for like 2 weeks or,
Mm.
you
No,
know.
really quick. So
Yeah.
I got there. It's about 10 p.m. on the evening on the Sunday. I literally walked in the hospital. They took me straight for pre-op. So it was I had like an ECG, I had an ultrasound, had chest X-ray, I had ECG was heart, wasn't it? Something to do with my lungs. You see a dietitian. Um, honestly, they are so thorough in
And do they
everything you
speak
do.
English as well? Like, is that English
Yeah,
good?
so with Get Slim in Turkey, they're all English speaking.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
really good.
amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, so then literally I went to bed, and then I was having my operation at midday the following day.
Wow.
That quick.
Really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed talking to you tonight, Alicia. It was really interesting, informative. I feel like I've learned so much, and
Mm.
it's a real pleasure to have you on. You look incredible. You are glowing. You look amazing, and you've really sold the idea to me of weight loss surgery. I Even though it could be hard afterwards, I can just see what it's done to you and how happy you are, and the extras that people don't really think about. When you talk about weight loss surgery, you just think about weight loss. You don't think about the mental health side of it, the quality of life that that you gain back, or the happiness. And when you said that you love yourself now, that just, I felt like I was going to start crying. I was like, no, don't start crying now. But it was so nice to hear. Just, I've really enjoyed having you on. And yeah, I just thank you so much for coming on and speaking to us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me on. Like, I love talking about it, because I do feel that this could potentially change people's lives, because it has done for me. And I've always been an open book about it. So yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I've loved it.